This is a 1991 Cadillac Hearse. In its nearly 10 years of service, this vehicle has delivered well over 2,000 people to their final destination. Now you two up in the front. You're where the head would have been. Execution squares. Years back in the days before NASCAR and college football, people would gather down here for their weekly entertainment. Watching people get their heads chopped off or hung from the neck till dead. Oh no, sounds like a pretty gruesome form of entertainment to me, but it was really quite popular in those days. And get a load of the beautiful Kehoe house by a man named William Kehoe. He was an iron worker, and one of the interesting features of the house is those years a funeral home until the early 1960s. Then Broadway Joe Namath noted for a spell. He raised hackles around town a bit when he found out he wanted to turn it into a disco. He sold in 1989 for a tidy profit, and ever since then it's been a fine historic cemetery, which I will also go into more detail on the back end of this tour. It is Savannah's second oldest existing cemetery, and the reason I say existing is because there are a number of older ones. Because over here to our right at the address of 432 Abercorn, I present you the Benjamin Wilson house. Now, it seems this house has been empty now for about 15 years or so. A while back I found that someone had attempted to renovate the house in 1895, but this renovation was mysteriously abandoned, and the house is now listed in the city records as left to decay, which is really quite amazing considering the run on real estate down here, and also for the fact that somebody still owns it. I also spoke with a woman who grew up in this house in the 1950s, and she did confirm that it was haunted. She said she couldn't wait to get out of the place. And just a few months back, another one of my tour lived there in the 1970s, and she confirmed it as well. Seems back in the year 1889, a family lived here, and they had 3 daughters, aged 14, 11, and 7. One spring night, the parents were going to a dinner party, and they decided it'd be okay to let the girls stay at home without a babysitter, as they were getting to be older and could look after themselves. Well, later on that night, these unfortunate parents arrived home to find that their 3 daughters had been brutally murdered in one of the bedrooms. I'll spare the goriest details, but they did say that there was so much blood that it had seeped to the floorboards and stained the ceiling of the room below. It was a horrific crime. And over the years since, many passers by the Wilson house, day and night, have claimed to see the girls peering out the windows, sometimes walking by, the times pounding on the glass, pleading for their lives. And you know, it was a few Halloweens back around that time, I was pulling through here with a group of folks, and they started taking photos of the house. And as I was pulling away, there was a big commotion in the back. So I stopped and they passed her camera up front, and when I looked at the picture, to my absolute astonishment, you could see a little girl's face looking out that window by the top of the stairs. Like I said, I've seen some pretty strange photographs in my time of doing this tour, dozens of them in fact, but none of them were quite like this one. I mean, the face was as solid as yours or mine. There was no mistaking it. They put the hair up on the back of my neck. And ever since then, we've heard at least a dozen reports from people who claim to see the girls, and we still get a ton of weird photographs there. Lots of orbs, actually. Many times the orbs we get in front of that house will have faces in them. I have to say, I get the most strange photographs of any house in Savannah in front of that place.